Now, train travel is a popular mode of transport in the country, of course, and yet more than 80% of the country's train stations were vandalized during the coronavirus pandemic. Let's speak now to Prasa Board Chair Leonard Ramatlakane to find out about the current state of our trains and the plans to revive the particular industry. Mr. Ramatlakane, thank you so much for joining us, Chair, this morning. I just want to talk about Prasa as an organization first before we take a look at some of the issues on the ground. Early on in the year, you came out and said this organization, Prasa, that is broken and leadership is unstable. So now we have a new CEO, Zolani Matthews. Is he stabilizing the ship?
Yes, of course. When the organization doesn't have a permanent group CEO, you have basically a rudderless organization. Presence of the group CEO basically means stability of leadership at the top level. And of course, you now have the board and you have that structure. Now, what is the second thing that must happen is to make sure that the executive are also stabilized, that you eliminate all the acting position, you have all permanent group excos in order for them to be able to take responsibility and accountability on what they do. So yes, it is, but that's just a step in that direction of making sure that the entire organization is being stabilized. It's able to, when I talk about stability, I'm only not talking about personnel, I'm also talking about policy aspect. That stability must mean that it basically narrowed the space of corruption because policies are clear. Everybody is held accountable based on the implementation of the policy all around. So yes, we are in that process.
All right, let's look at the situation on the ground. And we're reporting 80% of the stations have been vandalized throughout the country. I mean, what is Prasa doing to protect its rail infrastructure? Let's look at the stations in the first place. Are you also trying to bring in the communities so that they are aware of what they're losing because of this vandalism?
Well, the situation is quite bad. I think that when you say that 80% of the station has been vandalized, you're close to being correct because we have done that same. We've gone around all the 4 regions looking at infrastructure, physically walking and seeing. Yes, it's bad. So the Prasa has started a process, as you know. We have 46 corridors, which is rail corridors, countrywide. So far, we have brought back about 19 corridors, which are now functional. Not 100% functional because we're also fixing the payways. In other words, the rail itself has been damaged. Some places, the stations, you can't even stop at the station because of the vandalism that has taken place. So 19 corridors has been brought back to date with, of course, limited service. Like I would say Langa is a limited service because we don't have 100% functions or rail running. We only have morning and late peak hours. And of course, you now need to introduce that line from Cape Town to Khayelitsha and Mitchell's Plain. Now, only then we will then reach 100%. But all that has to happen once we have started fixing the problem in Langa.
Now, Chair, listen.
On the way to Mitchell's Plain.
Sorry, Chair.
So at the moment, we have in fact agreed with Transnet. That Transnet can also come on board to help us repair some of the problems area that requires a big machines to fix. For an example, you would notice that as you were doing your round, that most of the OHTE refers to all electrical wires that gives the trains energy to run. All of them, you'll find that in most, they've been stripped completely because those systems and copper has been now sold by those who has done that. So
Chair,
we need to
Chair, I wanted just to come in here a little bit, just to focus on the underlying issue here, this vandalism, it's been going on for so long. What is the underlying issue? Why are the stations getting vandalized? Why do the trains get vandalized? Have you looked into this issue?
Yeah, well, there's organized crime. The whole thing that people goes and they cut the rail line, that's organized crime to go and sell all what those commodities that they get from the rail. So it's organized crime. We have been talking to the police about this as well, that this cannot be an ordinary person that comes and do this. These are organized people that they're doing business with it. Remember that they sell this stuff as a scrapyard. So scrapyards buy anything they get from anybody. And in fact, they are telling us that, they're telling the police at least, that they must not be interrupted with their business when they buy stuff from anybody who walks along the road. So the underlying here is an organized crime, at best, at its operation, selling these coppers because there's a big money that is exchanged in terms of the copper that they are stealing.
Okay.
So it's not. So the issue here is that now we need to find a partnership with communities, at least to neutralize this, because those that are doing that lives within communities. Sometimes they are known, sometimes not so known. But what we have now started working is to build a partnership with communities across the country at every station where they are, so that they can become the eyes and the ears of Prasa and the law enforcement agency. They are now forming part of the security of Prasa because they are part of the PR2P, responsibility to protect as local communities around the stations.
Okay. Now,
we have already 2,000 of them that has been mobilized to be part of this program.
Now, Chair, we heard, sorry, Chairperson, we also heard from our commuters that we spoke to earlier on. One of the key things that the concerns for them when they are using Metro Rail trains is safety. What are you doing about that?
Well, the safety we have, as you know, that the police have introduced the railway police. Prasa has increased its security by employing 3,100 additional security. And of course, we're getting all of these volunteers. The idea is basically to have a visibility at the station level, but also get the security guards in the train so that it's not only the stations outside that is safe, that passengers that are taking that train from wherever to another destination, there's a visible security in the trains. So that we have said that the police, including the reservists, the police reservists, we are working with the police to make sure that we have this tight integrated plan that makes sure that passengers can see visibility of security in the trains and as they take it. Because it's true, people are robbed in the trains because there is no visibility or security or anything. So criminals who are in the trains and they see that there are few people in the train, it's easy. People becomes target. So that's what we are beginning to do to neutralize that threat permanently in terms of the running of trains and making sure that we bring back people, because the confidence of people who are using passenger rail must come back by seeing that Prasa is doing something about it. As I always say, this is what we are doing. It needs partnership, and it's not a quick fix because it has been a damage over a period of time.
Yes. Just lastly, sir, are you bringing in new trains into service because of the damaged ones? Is that something that you're planning to do? And if so, how far are you down the line with that?
Yeah, we have already a number of trains. In fact, if I speak about the Western Cape, there's 12 new trains that is already parked in Cape Town that needs to start to function, but we can't deploy them yet because of the damage that has happened on the rail itself. So now we have to fix the pairway in order to allow those trains to run, because remember that there must be a proper balance rail line for those trains to run. As soon as we're hoping that around May we should be able to introduce those new trains from Cape Town to Langa, and of course they're running already in the southern suburb. The same thing that we are introducing in Johannesburg. So by the end of the year, we'll have 22 trains, new trains here, which start gradually taking over. But the first thing that must be done is to fix the pairway so that we are able to deploy them. Otherwise, there will be derailment of those trains if we just deploy them when the rail is shaking, is not firm on the ground. So this is a process in Gauteng. In KZN, we're doing the same thing, because the yellow trains, most of them are tired. You need to retire them, and the function must be taken over by the new blue trains.
All right,
That's
thank you.
That's the process that we are embarking on.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for taking time to speak with us there. Chairperson of Prasa, Leonard Ramatlakane, talking to us about the latest developments there at Prasa, what they're doing about safety, punctuality, and so many issues that they have to face, including vandalism.